Hi guys and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to look at English for presentations. I am going to divide this lesson into 3 parts. First we will look at introductions. This includes introducing yourself, introducing your topic, and the outline of your presentation. Second, we will look at the main body of your presentation. This will look at phrases you can use to talk about your topic and introduce and talk about the ideas in your presentation. And finally, we will look at ending your presentation. And this includes concluding your topic, summarizing your topic, inviting the audience to ask questions, and of course, thanking your audience for their time. If giving an amazing presentation in English is something that you would like to do, then this video is for you. Let's get started. Let's start with the introduction. Start by welcoming everyone and introducing yourself. Example, good morning or good afternoon everyone and welcome to my presentation. Thank you all for coming here today. You could also say, good morning or good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. Next, you should introduce the topic of your presentation. Here are some phrases you can use to do this. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is. Example, as you can see on the screen, our topic today is English presentations. 2. I'm going to talk about. Example, I'm going to talk about English presentations. The subject of my talk is. The subject of my talk is English presentations. This morning or this afternoon, I'm going to take a look at the recent developments in. And here you would simply mention the recent developments your talk is about. If your presentation has different parts or sections, you can say, in my presentation, I'll focus on 3 major issues. Or this presentation is structured as follows, and here you would list the different parts or sections of your talk. I usually advise my students to mention at the beginning of the presentation that there will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. I advise for it to go at the end of the presentation because you might cover someone's question during your presentation. If you would like to have a question and answer session at the end of your presentation, you can simply say the following. If you don't mind, I'd like to leave questions until the end of my talk. Or there will be time for a Q&A session at the end. Now that you have finished the introduction, you'll need to transition to the main body and its individual parts in a smooth way. Remember, for this part, you'll probably have to sequence the things you'll talk about. This means you'll continue with your presentation in an order. These are some of the phrases you can use as you sequence the main body of your presentation. My first point concerns. Example, my first point concerns the introduction of a presentation in English. First of all, I'd like to give you an overview of. Example, first of all, I'd like to give you an overview of presentations in English. Next, I'll focus on, and then we'll consider. Example, next I'll focus on the different parts of a presentation in English, and then we'll consider the different phrases we can use as we make an English presentation. Now let's begin with the first part of my talk, which is about. Example, let's begin with the first part of my talk, which is about introducing a presentation in English. And the next one is, so first. That's it. Example, so first we're going to look at introducing a presentation in English. And finally, to begin with. Example, to begin with, we'll examine the different ways you can do a presentation. Often you may have visuals that are included in your presentation, like graphs and charts. Here are some phrases that you can use as you introduce your visuals to your audience. This graph shows you. Take a look at this. If you look at this, you will see. I'd like you to look at this. This chart illustrates the figures. This graph gives you a breakdown of. Give your audience enough time to absorb the information on the visual. Pause to allow them to look at the information and then explain why the visual is important. You can do this by using phrases like, as you can see, this clearly shows, from this we can understand how, or from this we can understand why. Before you conclude your presentation, it's important to summarize everything you've spoken about. You can do this by using the following sentences. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I've talked about. Well, that's about it for now. We've covered. To summarize, or to conclude, I'd like to end by emphasizing the main points. And you just need to mention the main points of everything you've spoken about during your presentation. Make sure you provide a very brief summary. Finally, let's look at the conclusion of an English presentation. Before you end your presentation, take time for a quick Q&A session to engage with your audience and ensure that they've understood your presentation. You can use the following sentences to start a Q&A session. 1. Thank you for listening. And now if there are any questions, I would be pleased to answer them. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. Once you've opened the presentation to questions, be ready to provide answers on your topic. Now, I understand that you may get some questions that you simply do not have the answer to, and that's okay. You can respond to questions you don't have the answer to by using the following sentences. That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but I'll get back to you later with an answer. I'm afraid I'm unable to answer that at the moment. Good question. I really don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. That's a very good question. However, we don't have any figures on that, so I can't give you an accurate answer. Unfortunately, I'm not the best person to answer that. And finally, you can end your presentation by thanking your audience for their time and attention. You can use the following sentences. I'd like to thank you for taking time out to listen to my presentation. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me today. And that brings us to the end of our lesson on English presentations. I hope you found this video helpful and useful. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for your time, and this is Ashley with Level Up English signing out. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.